Hello everyone, my name is Rodvid and I'm playing in the guild Sparks as a warrior on the server Maelstrom. So, what this video is going to be about basics of Arms Warrior in patch 5.0.4. Now, I've not done any serious amount of testing in the beta, which means that this is information that I've gathered just from playing since yesterday, but I figured I'd share with everyone out there because, hey, sometimes it's just hard to get going when there's a new patch and you really don't know what to do. So what's going to follow is some of the tips and tricks I'm going to be giving you about what rotations and how you're going to prioritize your skills, because that's mostly what it's about today, prioritization. So one of the biggest changes in patch 5.0.4 is that our rage generation is quite different from what it was before. It's not as RNG, it's instead more depending on which kind of stance you are. In battle stance, you get more rage from just doing pure damage, and when you're taking damage, you can use Berserker stance to get even more from a more steady DPS rage income, as long as you know you're taking damage. In the video, you'll see that I'm currently in Berserker stance, which is just a mistake. I just couldn't be arsed to re-record the video when I noticed I was in Berserker stance. Anyway, so let's get started. Let's get started talking about the different skills and how much you're going to use them, when you're going to use them, why you're going to use them at that time. So, Mortal Strike is going to be one of our most used skills. It was before the patch, and it will most likely still be for a long time unless something drastically changes with the skill. Now, the reason for this is first of all that it generates a lot of not a lot of rage, but it generates 10 rage. It also has a stable amount of damage, a really good amount of damage dealt with it. So what this means is that you want to keep it on cooldown for the majority of the time. You never want to see it like off cooldown for more than 1 to 2 seconds. If it's off cooldown for a long time, you're doing it wrong. Depending on the situation, of course, this can vary. Like, for example, execute phase, you're taking a lot of damage, you might go into Berserker stance and get a lot of rage that way and do execute. Anyways, what I do to make sure that I never have my Mortal Strike off cooldown for a longer time is that I just add a sound with weak auras that plays at when there's 1.25 seconds left of the cooldown on Mortal Strike, which tells me that, hey, now you only have this is the last moment to do another skill before it's time to do another Mortal Strike again. So one thing that I would like to say before we move on to some of the other skills that's part of our rotation is that one of my favorite skills now is Dragon's Roar, because it's such an amazing skill. Even though it has such a long cooldown, it works in most situations. It's a good AoE skill, deals a lot of damage during AoE, and it's also very usable in your single target rotation due to the fact that it costs no rage, it's an automatic crit, and it pierces through all armor. No matter if you have a Colossus Smash Up or whatever, it just goes through everything, and this is really, really great, I believe, and it does about, overall during a fight, if it's just single target, it deals about the same damage as Deep Wounds does, and with a 1 minute cooldown, I think that's really, really awesome. So you want to be using this for basically as soon as it's off cooldown and you're not using Mortal Strike. So the next skill in our rotation that I'm going to talk quickly about is Slam, because first of all it's a great damage ability, and after the patch we're going to use it a lot more than we did before. Maybe not a lot, but we're going to use it quite a bit more. What this skill is that it's your first and best way to get rid of rage. All the rage you generate with normals, hits, and Mortal Strike, you're going to use to get rid of that rage. You're going to use Slam to get rid of, because Slam is the greatest amount of damage for the amount of rage that you're wasting on it, and it does so much more damage than any of your other skills. So you want to use this as much as possible. So the next skill in our rotation is going to be Overpower. It's been changed a bit since the new patch, and the main changes to this are, first of all, that when you do Overpower, there's a 30% chance that you might another overpower might proc, so you'll be able to use it again. But the major thing with this is that when it does, when this it procs so you can use it again, it also gives you a buff, and it's the Taste for Blood buff, which increases the damage on Heroic Strike with 100%. 100% might not be a lot because Heroic Strike doesn't do a lot of damage, but this stacks up to 5 times, which is really, really, really great. And Overpower is also gonna be your main damage source when you're low on rage, because it's gonna be proccing a lot more than it did before the patch. So as soon as you can't do Slam, or you want to try to get your Taste for Blood stacks up, this is the skill to use. So the next skill that we're gonna go into is Heroic Strike, and it's been changed quite a bit actually, and we're not going to use it nearly as much as we did before the patch. The main reasons to this is that it costs a lot of rage considering the amount of damage it does. So you want to be prioritizing Slam and Overpower over this depending on your current rage situation. You're almost only going to be using this when you do not have enough global cooldowns to use up any of the rage that you're regenerating. So depending on the fight, that may be if you're currently in Berserker stance and you're taking a lot of damage, and you can then you might be able to burst out a lot of Heroic Strikes with your normal rotation. You're gonna have to prioritize here, and that's pretty much what Warrior has become. It's a lot more about learning what to prioritize over what and when to use the different skills. So, and what Heroic Strike also has is the positive effect of Overpower, because when, as I said before, when Overpower procs, not the normal proc, but the re-proc, when you can do it again right after Overpower, it's gonna give you a buff that increases Heroic Strike's damage with 100%. Now, when you only have 1 or 2 stacks of this, it wouldn't always be a good thing to use this skill. Depending on the situations, of course. If you have a lot of rage and you see that you have 2 stacks, you have Deadly Calm on cooldown, you might want to be using Deadly Calm to be able to get off some quick heroic, like a quick Heroic Strike that doesn't cost you too much rage. Otherwise, what's really good about this skill is that, considering that the Taste for Blood may stack up to 5, if you're lucky, or now and then, you're just gonna be getting 3 to 5 stacks of this buff, which is going to increase the Heroic Strike damage from everything to 300% to 500%, and this is a lot of damage. It's going to be hitting for 100k damage, and you want to be keeping track of your skill buffs and seeing how many stacks of Taste for Blood do I currently have. Do I have enough rage? Yes, okay. No, the buff is almost running out. I only have 2 or 3 stacks. I'm going to be using Heroic Strike now to utilize these stacks and not lose them. So, as I said before, it's a lot about how you prioritize your skills. So the last skill I want to talk about is Heroic Leap, because even before the patch I always liked using this as a damage output, even on single target fights, because it is a skill that allows you to do more damage without wasting a global cooldown, and if you can keep doing this while keeping your normal rotation up, it's a really good thing. So I'd suggest practicing this, and especially with one of the new glyphs that reduces the cooldown of this by 15 seconds and increases its damage with 100%. What this skill is going to do is going to do about 5% of your overall damage if you keep using it correctly. Now this is not exact numbers, but from what I've tried, 5% of your damage seems to be the major result. And 5% of your damage is pretty much what Dragon Roar is going to do. It's what Deep Wounds will be doing if you're not in an AoE fight. So it's really good, and I suggest just trying to get used to using it as a damage source. So to finish things up, what you're going to want to do is you're going to go in, use Mortal Strike as much as possible, and you're going to have to be using Slam to be able to get rid of the rage you're going to be regenerating with your normal attacks and with the Mortal Strike. And Heroic Strike's only gonna be used when you have enough rage to waste, and basically when you don't have enough global cooldowns to waste all of that amount of rage that you're having. You're also gonna want to see if you can how you can get the Dragon's War skill in as much as possible with the Heroic Leap skill. And about the Deadly Calm and Recklessness. Recklessness is an obvious choice. Right now, the way Execute works, you're gonna want to use it during the Execute phase. if it's not a 10-minute fight or longer, you're not going to use it before. Deadly Calm, it's going to be used when you know you have to pop Heroic Strike, so just to save some rage for more slams or whatever you want to be doing with that rage. Now, there might be things that I've missed talking about in this video, and I apologize for that, but this is just something that I thought I'd throw out there basically after one night with playing ARMS. However, one really last thing that I want to go into is about the stances. You really want to start learning as well and when to use what stance. It's really simple though. When you're going to do it, it's just a matter of learning to do it in practice as well. Battle stance, when you're not taking in that damage. You just want to stand there, nuke the boss, you're not taking any large amount of damage, this is what you're going to be in. However, you want to start learning how and when you can use Berserker Stance, because what Berserker Stance does nowadays is that it provides a lot of rage when you take damage. It provides a lot more rage than Battle Stance does. You don't get any rage when taking damage when Battle Stance is up. So when there's AoE damage going on or whatever, when you know you're taking damage, go into Berserker Stance. So this is the last for me today. I'm not going to be talking about anything more in specific today. However, I might put some new videos up after Mists of Pandaria is released, because things are going to change when we get level 90, we get new gear, we're going to reforge that gear differently. So that was all from me, folks. Thanks for watching the video. I hope I helped some, even though it was a bit chaotic at sometimes when I was talking. Also, feel free to check out my stream. It's in the links below, and I'm probably going to be streaming a lot of both leveling and raids when Mists of Pandaria come, but just feel free to check in anytime and hang out and talk, whatever, ask questions, whatever you want to do. That's all from me. Thanks for watching the video and good luck with your warrior in the future.